such a great network on Twitter, and I wanted a place for my pals to hang out, and launched it. And within a month, we had 600 members, and they were all of my closest friends in SEO. And then they told their friends and told their friends and told their friends, and it's grown from there. And any of you members, great. If you're not joined, it's theSEOcommunity.com. It's free to join. If you want to pay to support us, that's great, but it's free to join. And it's been just a super wild ride for me personally to watch the impact that we're having on people's careers. People answering super difficult questions, people landing new jobs, people hiring for roles, people collaborating on projects. There's just so much positive energy in that place, and it makes me feel just incredibly grateful to be. It just makes me so grateful that all y'all are on the journey with me. And you know, I've grown a lot as a human because of it, and I've grown into being a leader to some extent. And Cheryl has been there with me for the whole ride and taught me to believe in myself and to step up and do something big. And we've tried to take big swings and to do exciting stuff, and I think we've got a lot in the future. And it makes me feel just emotional and really, really grateful. So just thanks for coming out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is the first event that we're calling the SEO Community Roadshow. We wanted to do it in Chicago. I haven't been here in a really long time. We've got a really bunch of close friends here. Mark Beelan from Search Lab Digital. He's been an amazing supporter for me, just on a personal level, getting me to believe that the things that I was thinking or building were impactful and important and worth supporting. And so it's really exciting for me to be here. Dave Ojeda, who was here and left, Mary Albright, who's here and left. These are people that have been instrumental in my career growth. So I really wanted to come here first. And it just means a lot to me that y'all are here. So thanks so much. We're in Chicago. If there's one person that I want to spend time with in Chicago, it's Andy Crestodina. He's a bottom line marketer, and I think when you see bios of me and our agency, you'll see that that's on described as well. And you've always been someone that I turn to learn from, and I feel like we're in a massively transitional phase right now, at least psychologically transformational. And so one bottom line guy to another, I just felt like it was an amazing opportunity to ask you questions to kind of get at how you're thinking about where we're at. So how are you mentally navigating, let me reframe that, where are we? Where are we right now?
I'm grateful to you and to everyone, and it's just cool to come to Chicago in general. So first, thanks everyone. This is a fascinating moment. There's Almost Famous, Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's talking to the kid. He's like, it's a dangerous. The kid wants to be like a rock writer, and he's like, it's a dangerous time for rock and roll. I feel like this is a dangerous time for rock and roll. That was a good time also for rock and roll. This is a moment where I think people are really questioning themselves and questioning the category and questioning the industry and questioning big tech, and if big tech's questioning itself. The way I'm thinking about it lately is that there is the amount of stress that people have, to some extent, is partly a function of just how well they've prepared themselves and upskilled themselves in this moment. The people I know who are really spending a lot of time on experimentation and testing and learning and cramming like it's finals week, they see a lot of opportunity. They're excited. It's like unlocking new opportunity. That really worked. That was so cool. This was fantastic. But it's the sort of, I think the more that you're a bit of a laggard in this moment, the more stressed you are. And I try to remind people, we are all each responsible for our own skill sets. It's up to each of us to take accountability for what we know and what we do. And when you do that, and when you push yourself to get up earlier, stay up later, whatever your style is, and read and watch and try and experiment and learn and teach. You teach, then you know something much, much better. That reduces stress. That reduces stress for me. And that's why I'm hopefully at this point, sometimes yes, sometimes no, but seeing this era more as an era of opportunity.
Yeah.
When I've thought about career growth, I always think about a couple things. I think about the craft. I think about the surface area of people who know that I excel at the craft. And I think about helping as many people as I can. Those are the 3 check boxes for career growth. And it's a virtuous cycle. And when I thought about hard skill acquisition, I thought about somewhere between 400 and 1,000 hours a year of improvement, self-improvement outside of like the workday. And when you say that number to people, it's incredibly scary for 99% of the people. But I think that that's what's necessary to be like the top of the game. And that shit ain't free. We pay a price, a psychological price, our family pays a price. What does that look like for you?
So random fun fact, I got a Mandarin degree in college, University of Iowa in the mid-90s. I didn't know what else to study. But I knew that if I had studied that, I would know if I knew it. Because I could go to China and talk to people and they'd understand me or they didn't. I could understand them or I wouldn't. So, and then I was going to be a teacher. That's kind of the full circle story. But there were only two high schools in Iowa that taught Chinese, so I decided not to live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Instead, came here. But what that looks like for me right now, I need to invest a lot in those skills.
Yeah.
And I have a 7 and 9-year-old. So some weird things. I know most people maybe won't be able to adopt this, but for me, it's more or less 0 TV, maybe 1 movie a week. I deleted Facebook. I don't scroll. I chose where I'm going to get my news. I paid for a subscription. I downloaded an app. It's New York Times. That's where, so I get things from there. But I spend very little time just consuming content. I'm learning more from experimentation than by reading lately. But I don't pay attention to sports. I know you're going to the game tomorrow. That's great. I do love the Cubs. But in my mind, all sports is mushed together into sports ball. I just ignore it all.
Yeah.
So I've sort of set aside, I know this is not realistic for many, but it's either all in for the kids or I am working, writing, teaching, studying, recording, doing whatever I can professionally. So I hope to say like work-life balance has worked itself out over a span of years or decades. I will later take some time. So weird answer, I know, but I am totally invested in corporate media, our business, and in my family. I have a shorter commute. It's 5 minutes on a bike. But I'm there every morning for breakfast. I'm there every night for dinner, unless I have to go speak for an event. But I will fly red eyes back and forth.
Yeah.
I landed in Orlando at 3 a.m. on Monday. Flew out at noon on Tuesday. So I will do anything to maximize time for those 2 things because that's my priority.
I've always noticed how your rolly bag comes with you when you speak at a conference because you're out right after.
Before the kids, I was like first one there for the workshops and the last after party. I was the guy who made you shut it down.
Yeah, not so much. Okay, so what's the number? How many hours a year? Art and craft. Outside of what you would call the work day, I suppose.
No, it all comes together. I couldn't really separate them, but I average about 50. You want to talk about this? This might not be realistic, and I understand this is just one person, okay? But
yeah,
it's about 55 hours a week. I shot a video on Friday afternoon, cut it up on Saturday, that's on YouTube now. Wrote an article between Saturday and Sunday while they were sleeping. That was published today. So I write I've written 650 articles. I work 55 hours a week. I think it's just shy of 3,000 hours a year. But the difference is, when you do this long enough, you realize that these things give you cumulative advantages.
that's what I wanted to get to. Okay, yeah.
So
100%.
So keep building,
Right.
and you go farther faster.
You keep turning the cycle,
Yeah.
and they compound. Right.
They do.
Okay, love it. How'd you get started?
I did not become a Chinese teacher in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. That was step one. So lived in China, came back. I needed a job, and this was back when people had like printed resumes. I'm 53, so I finished. It took 6 years to get my bachelor's. I was a terrible student. Got a job as a recruiter. Wanted to do something creative. I was a good recruiter. It was the 90s. The late 90s was a good time for recruiting. I wanted to make something. I wanted to be able to point at a thing and say I made that. I wanted to do web design. I wanted to use both halves of my brain, technical and creative, combine art and science. I want to be a dual, like a whatever left right brain guy. Yeah. But then I quit that job and started working with my partner. I moved from college and from high school. Barrett was already building websites.
Yeah.
This is the late 90s.
Yeah.
So I was well paid, but I dropped it all January 1st of 2000. Started a business that failed. The thing that I learned was if in the beginning it's easier to start a company than find a job, because a person hiring you is taking a big chance for full-time employment. A person giving you a project is taking a small risk. So starting a company is actually very easy to do, weirdly easy to do. So that one, the first one failed. The second one was what we do now, and then I'm sort of the guy who never pivoted. This is 24 years, and I'm still. My elevator pitch more or less sounds the same today as it did in 2002.
So I didn't realize that we share so many things. So I was an education minor. I thought I was going to be a teacher. I got into a doctoral program to teach history.
Awesome.
I didn't get enough money, and then that took me in a whole different direction, which was all kinds of stuff that turned into bike shops for 20 years, and then digital marketing full-time starting in 2015. So that's wild. And it was that same kind of, and I studied a lot of art stuff in high school, but I didn't think I could make money with it. And then I got out and I wanted to do graphic design because friends of mine were designing lots of like rave posters on Adobe Illustrator. And I was like, Adobe Illustrator is so fucking cool. And that's how I got started, right? So like, and it was print. And then the restaurant where we would have, the venue needed a website. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can build a website. And then I built a website that was just image-based, that was cut up into all these slices, and it would load, like 300 slices would load. And I was on a cable modem at the time, so I was like, whoa, it looks so cool, it's like flickering as the page loads. So for me, it was like web design starting in 2001. And then mobile design in 2009 or 10, and it was like, whoa, I can make it look cool on a phone. That's rad. And learned SEO on page stuff from, what was it, SEO Notebook, the blue website with the 3-ring binder on the left. I learned about off-page stuff, on-page stuff, and it was like, wow, if I focus on the page title, and if I focus on headings and on-page, I can rank. And I competed with other local websites, and all the other websites looked better, potentially, but mine were always at the top, and because of that, we had business. And it was like, these people, this is how I developed my bottom line marketer approach. It was like, I can care about colors, I can care about typography, I can get emotional, but that's not where it's at. It's where's the money, right? So let's talk about bottom line marketing in an AI age. What actually matters?
Well, I was never just an SEO. I've been an SEO not as long as Corey, my partner who's here, Corey. But I started studying SEO in 2000 and got really serious about it maybe 2001, 2002. But the reason to do that was because I had to find my own clients. Otherwise, we'd be forever beholden to agencies that were outsourcing the work to us. So if I'm going to control my destiny, I have to do a pipeline.
Yeah.
Didn't even know it was called a pipeline. So it wasn't just about search, it was about leads.
Yeah.
I never did SEO as a separate thing, it was about lead generation.
Yep.
So from the very beginning, and we didn't call it conversion optimization, we didn't even call it UX, but the job was to generate a lead. So I didn't know anything about technical SEO, I learned on-page. Back then, we ranked high by putting Chicago web design at the footer of our client sites. Remember those areas? Yeah. But basically, we are a 53-person agency today who's more or less, not exactly, but mostly never bought an ad. It's been a 100% organic growth. The ads we've done have sort of been like retargeting people we've proposed to already. It's more like enablement or something else. But no, I had to generate leads. So I've always been equal parts cheese and mousetrap. I've always been a search and conversion optimizer. I've always cared a lot about the experience of the visitor after they landed. I never wrote anything purely for the sake of search. I always thought about the experience of the visitor. Is this delighting them? Is it answering their questions? Is it satisfying their information needs? For the money pages, the services. Is this handling their objections? I think that's what a lot of marketers miss. These pages need to handle your prospects' questions, or handle the objections. Objection handling is the key to lead gen. There's like only one or two unanswered things will kill the lead. So they have to be comprehensive, not for search. And I'm so tired of seeing these articles that it's like, I was joking, elevator repair. You want to rank for elevator repair? What does that person need? They got a broken elevator. What information do they not need? What is elevator repair? Why do people put that at the top of a page? You can tell, like, the tool set, you should use, here's your outline, create a brief, structure it this way. What a dumb idea for a page. What does this person need? What is their pain? What are their triggers? What is the cognitive biases that you can put near the call to action? What verbs what should be on this page? Web design is about creating a visual hierarchy that roughly aligns with the prioritized information needs of the visitor. That's the job. Of course, do that first, right? Make it great, because search is not the only source of traffic. But that also, by the way, makes it a very relevant page for on-page SEO because you made it super comprehensive. So I like to make things first for the visitor, and then if there's a keyword opportunity, maybe half my articles have one, then I take the time and I will spend an extra hour and a half or longer to make this thing, a minor masterpiece of semantic SEO, because it's worth it. I love a good keyword. I value that traffic. I'm an analytics guy from forever, but I've always, I do marketing from the bottom up, right? Conversion optimization and then search optimization. For the service pages and then the articles, right? Commercial intent and then information intent. Why are you putting cheese on a broken mousetrap? I think digital marketing should be done backwards, starting with the contact form, then the calls to action that bring people to the contact form, then the service page that has the call to action. Right? If you do that, you will generate leads, even if there was no Google, because there are other sources of traffic. But it's not been my priority forever.
So, I love it. Let's talk about, when I think about AI, and I think about...
I blew off the AI part.
No.
AI, I love it, that's good.
No, when I think about you and I think about AI, I think a lot of people are afraid that AI is going to take their jobs. And I think that the reality is there's a subset of people who are turning it into a force multiplier. And that the way that they're using it is different. And I think of you as falling into that subset. And so I wanted to just explore that with you a little bit. Like, talk us through how you think about it, how you're using it.
There's a great quote from Jay Baer. Do you guys know Jay?
Yes.
Jay says, the problem is not that AI is doing what marketers can do. The problem is that marketers keep doing what can be done by an AI. So if you're doing a task that can be done faster and more comprehensively with AI, you should at least consider it. When you do that, you actually improve your job security because not everyone has fully adopted it, and if there's going to be a reduction, you've got a better shot, right? Or you're more productive or getting better results, and you're probably going to outperform the other agency or the other candidate. I think AI is extremely interesting in a couple of ways because the way that I use it, I don't use AI to write almost anything. I use AI to improve the performance of things. My thesis here is that the world doesn't need another medium quality blog post. It's almost not worth publishing at all. If you look at any marketing chart, a tiny percentage of top performers get like 10 or 100x the performance. I've never seen a straight line. It's a curved line every single time. Every chart, every category, every channel, a tiny percentage of articles rank high in Google, a tiny percentage of social posts go viral, a tiny percentage of influencers engagement, 90% of your web pages get most of the traffic. So our job should be to create more of those. So if your focus is on performance, then you're asking yourself, how could this be better? And if you think of that as a gap analysis problem, AI is a miracle tool. If you give AI a persona, just upload it, or I'll share a persona prompt with you, and then give it a page and say, what is missing from this page from my persona's point of view, it will tell you. You give it a page and say, which of these marketing claims were unsupported with evidence? It will tell you. Those are conversion methods. You can also use AI for content strategy. Which articles that my audience would love are the least covered? Which topics are the least covered in my industry? Gap analysis on an entire industry's worth of content. AI will tell you. It can even do gap analysis on your reader's brain. You can say, what are the most important things that my audience does not yet know? Humans could never do that. You can't do a stakeholder interview and say, Mark, what don't you know yet? You're like, Mark doesn't. You can't think of things you don't know. Human brains are very, very bad at spotting things that aren't present, but AI is amazing at spotting things that aren't present. So I think that's an example of what Jay's talking about. Do the things that marketers should be, use AI to do the things that marketers can't easily do, and use it with your ethos. The whole point of this game is to just drive performance, so focus on quality. AI-powered, persona-driven gap analysis on your homepage, your service pages, that will make you more money faster than almost anything else I can think of.
Give us a rant. What are you hating right now?
I hate AI news. I have friends who text me Grok 3 is dropping at 11 p.m. I'm like, dude, I'm reading a story to my dog. I don't need to know. I don't pay any attention to AI news. Don't pay any attention to AI news. You don't need it. It's not that useful. If you focus on results, you're almost totally focused on what is practical. We talked about, we have a mutual friend and a marketer that everyone here knows, several of them, who are talking about, I can't even remember what it's called, what's that stuff called?
Vector embeddings.
Vector embeddings? I'm pretty sure I don't need to know anything about that.
Topic clusters.
Topic clusters?
That's what it is.
I'm gonna skip that. Yeah. Query, fan out, what? I really don't care. I don't care because my reader doesn't care, right? The marketing leader doesn't care. If my target audience was a search engineer, and anyway, the people who talk about those things, I love and respect them. And they have a content strategy, and that may be generating them leads, and I want them to generate leads and grow their businesses and get rich and be successful. So if that works for them, do more of that, that's great. But I'm not taking any notes in that session because I'm pretty sure that will not affect anything that I'm doing, and it will have zero impact on lead generation, which is what my goal is.
Wow.
Am I wrong? Should I learn about vector embeddings?
That was refreshing. You already know
Do I
about
need to
it.
know any of that?
You already know about it.
How many of us
Clusters.
have a little bit of imposter syndrome when you see that stuff? When people are talking about vector embedding. So I learned how to do that at the page level and the passage level. What I thought was pretty interesting was that when I did it at the passage level, paragraphs, unordered lists and whatnot, you can see duplicate areas of your website where they're saying the exact same thing about a topic on a whole bunch of pages. Basically, not intentionally, the same exact sentence in 12 different pages.
Okay.
That to me was interesting, or pages that have near duplicate stuff. And the process of going deep into the problem domain was interesting for me. But building a tool that makes me money, or us money, or our clients money, I was like, I can't put two and two together yet. I don't understand how Google works, it's a black box.
It doesn't matter though if they're, so if you have a well-structured website and you have many pages that target many phrases, and all of those become entry points into the site, and if you look at analytics and your visitors are not seeing many more than just one or two pages, then really each of these pages must perform as sort of its own little standalone experience. That page has to sell that visitor and convert them in that page or the next page. Then I recommend packing each of these separate search optimized pages with evidence. And if you've got a testimonial that promotes all 6 of these pages, put it on all 6 of these pages. Does it matter that the same copy is on 15 URLs on your site? I don't know why it would. Google, the battle is fought URL by URL. I don't think there is such a thing as a duplicate content penalty or any issue having closely related pages or similar things. Keyword cannibalization, I don't really understand that. I think that Google's trying to find the best page on the internet for the searcher's intent. And sure, you've got, there's some pages on this site that are closely related and some pages on other sites that are closely related. So I don't really see, it's obviously there's no duplicate content penalty because if I copy and paste one of your pages into my site, Google doesn't penalize both of us. Google's dealt with duplicate content since they launched. A third of the internet is duplicate content. It doesn't matter that there's similar text on these different pages. I can't imagine that's an issue. Make each page a masterpiece of search optimization and conversion optimization. Each page, it's the Daniel Kahneman book. What you see is all there is. That page has to do the whole job. You can't put your testimonials over there and your reviews over here and your video over here. Each of these pages, look at analytics. Look at the path exploration. They're not seeing that many URLs. Each of these must stand alone. They have to do the whole job. So I recommend duplicate content. If it's evidence that supports the sales message on that search optimized page, which is an entry point, and likely one of the only URLs they will see while they're there.
I'm going to work backwards a little bit. When I think of you, I think about 10x the content, 100x the results. That's stuck with me, I've heard you say it so many times. And it has gotten me to build better content, so thank you. But if you're building that way, that means you're not going to have all these extraneous pages because you just don't have time, right? You're going to just have better structure, so it's less of a concern.
Brian Dean taught us all that. Very small site compared to the competitors.
Yeah.
But each single URL was way more than the competitors.
Yeah.
So the two formats for content that will forever outperform all other formats for content are original research and strong opinion. This was the BuzzSumo research, Steve Racing from a million years ago. Way more relevant now than it ever was because of AI. AI cannot create original research. AI cannot create thought leadership. It's incapable of, it doesn't care. It doesn't have thoughts. It can't be a thought leader. Nobody follows AI. There's no follow button. It doesn't do that. So those two topics, those two formats are 10x. They are rare. The subset of brands that publish original research make their own domain the primary source. I don't really do content audits for people, but if I did, I'd ask that question. Is your website the primary source for any statistics or new information? If so, you are a categorically different type of content brand. And those pages are link magnets. Those pages are catnip for journalists. Those pages are what we all cite. How many people have I quoted so far? Those are thought leaders. If this was an article, we would be linking to them. Take a stand, right? Or publish or conduct a study. Those things, and so you can. I only write one article every 2 weeks. I've never published more than that. That's the most I can do. Because anything faster than that, it'd be like B- pieces, and I don't think that's worth it.
What are you loving right now in terms of your own learning?
I am really enjoying. So I agree that the demise or the corruption or the pollution of Twitter is sad, and that I'm enjoying LinkedIn.
Me too.
Very
A lot,
yep,
surprisingly.
Yep.
I hated it.
It is. Long comments on company websites are dead. They're on LinkedIn now. I syndicate every article on LinkedIn, so I have a weekly newsletter where I copy and paste these articles into LinkedIn, change the headline a little bit. That's where the engagement is. Private communities are absolutely where it's at. That prophecy came true. Social media moved into private networks where people find each other, and thanks to people like you, building, bringing people together, engaging, learning from each other.
What other communities do you dig?
I'm in two different little AI communities. I am in a mastermind group. If you're not in one, start one. It's free. Find 3 people who have the same problems that you do a monthly call for an hour, hot seat an issue, or just pick a topic. We used to have a moderator, we used to have a note taker, now Fathom's the note taker. And it gets real fast, and it's just super high value. Highly recommend everyone start a mastermind group. I've done a bunch of them over the years, I've learned a lot from that. So it's really people like that are driving the communities, and and those communities are where the best stuff is going on.
I was chuckling and looking at Jason Dutch because we were in an agency owner accountability group. We were suffering as agency owners in the, what was that, 2018, 19, 20?
Yeah.
That right? And it was
Good value?
Oh, well. No, it was amazing. It was amazing.
It was great, but some were probably providing more counsel than others, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But it was good.
7?
Givers and takers.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
6 or 7.
It was pretty great. So I feel like the future is bright, and I feel like the future is bright because I think that we have the skills to pull whatever this LLM future is into our remit.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? What do you think?
I think that it's going to be frustrating for a lot of people who love metrics and data and attribution. That's not fun for them. If you love networking and in person, and you were always okay with not being able to track everything back exactly, and you prioritize a lot of the offline things that you never really needed perfect attribution. I think that it's an upgrade to the internet. I think that the mobile web experience today for information intent queries and people wanting answers is horrible. I mean, if you try to just look something up on your phone, and it's a nightmare. Google plus browser plus website these are bad times. And that won't be a thing anymore, because you'll just have this little assistant that answers your questions for you, and it does it in a fast, clean, private, so the internet got an upgrade, I think, for all of us.